Welcome, you guys. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Thursday Talks at Heal Black Joy. And in today's conversation, we're going to be talking about how to heal mother wounds. This is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. I think this is going to be a really good night. I cannot wait. Thank you guys for joining in. I cannot wait to get into this deep dive conversation with our expert on mother wounds. Hi, I'm Lola Troy, the host and curator of Heal Black Joy, a learning platform for our community to heal our Black joy with tangible and attainable programs for the mind, body, soul, relationships, and businesses. Tonight, we have a special guest. Her name is Miss Jennifer Arnise. Jennifer is an author, a coach, and healing strategist who teaches Black women how to heal from the painful relationship with their mother so they can have more confidence, find their voice, and start winning in life. So I'm trying to see if Miss Jennifer is on. Let's see here if I can get her in. She's not in the room yet. Let's see if we can get her in. One moment, you guys. All right, here she is. Let's get her in here. Hi,
Hi, honey.
how are you?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I am awesome. I'm so excited about having this conversation with you tonight.
Me too.
It's a wealth of information that comes from you about this particular subject. I think a lot of women and some men struggle with this issue of having a mother wound.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of people don't even know that it's a thing. It's just been so normalized that it's like whatever.
So tell me, how did you get started? Like, how did you identify this is something that I know we talk personally, but to tell our people, to tell our Heal Black Joy tribe, what is a mother wound so that people will know exactly what it is so they can identify it? And two, tell me your journey when it comes to mother wounds.
Okay, so a mother wound is a psychological term. It's not something I made up. It's not like some street term, and it speaks to it is a gender-based wound. Okay, so
Mm,
it's specifically this is a mother wound. If you are a mother
mm,
and you lack personal autonomy in your life, you lack mental, any or all of these mental autonomy, emotional autonomy, physical autonomy,
mm-hmm.
and it guides the way you parent and
Okay.
guides the way and it will show up in how you raise your sons. Like if you ever see people and this is like 100% of the time, it's like, oh, she treated my brother this way and she treated me this way. When you see
Mm-hmm.
a parent that treats their children diabolically different based off of gender, then you know that parent also has a gender-based wound. So and the mother does the majority of the raising, or the mother figure. So it informs the way she parents. So if you think about someone who doesn't have autonomy or ownership of their own life,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they become a mother, and a mother is the most autonomous role. It holds the most authority, because you literally have to keep another person alive,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it triggers this thing. If you have no personal autonomy, and then basically emotionally you still feel like you're thrust into
Mm-hmm.
parenting, and you don't have autonomy, but now you have to act, which means you have no personal authority, but now you have to behave with authority, and you don't have any. So you live a life that really is not true, and it's triggering, because it triggers all of the trauma that you have in your life and you've experienced, because you don't have any authority, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm going to take a moment, because I think that more people need to hear this conversation. So you guys, Heal Black Joy Tribe, I need you to invite in 2 or 3 of your good girlfriends, because this is a conversation that you know that they need to hear, and you know they need to be a part of it. So please share this conversation right now. If you can do that, please, because I think it's imperative that we heal ourselves. We got to get to a place of healing. And this is one of the biggest ones. This is a big one.
Yes.
So
Hey,
please share.
Nisha. Yeah, my people that are in here too, please share this out, because y'all
Please
already
share.
know what's about to happen.
You already know what's about to go down. So when you're talking about autonomy, what does that look like in a day-to-day routine of a mother? What does that look like when you don't have emotional autonomy?
Well, it starts before she's a mother. It's a
Okay.
gender-based wound. So it's been her whole life. That's why,
Mm-hmm.
if you think of, and it's caused by the patriarchy. It's a wound rooted in sexism and
Mm.
misogynism. That's why
Mm-hmm.
it's a
Mm-hmm.
gender-based wound. And that's why the Black mother wound is based on racism and sexism, because Black women are at the intersection of 2 oppressive cultures, racism and sexism. We're the only individual on this planet that is at the intersection that faces both. Black men, they deal with racism, but they're at the top of the food chain when it comes to gender. White
Yes.
women go through sexism, but they're at the top of the food chain when it comes to race. So
Right.
Black women get it double. And that's why the Black mother wound is such a specific wound for us, because of all of the trauma that Black women throughout the generations have had to deal with based on their gender. So you want to talk about a lack of autonomy, imagine a Black woman can't choose who she shares her body with.
Mm. Mm.
This goes back to slavery.
Yes. Yes.
Right? We go back to, and if you want to, and if you can just do, mainstream society, white women not being able to vote, or Black women not being able to vote, not being able to own property, not being able to have a driver's license, not being able to walk in, not being paid the same as men. So like all of these things strip away your autonomy. Someone telling you what you can do with your body if you get pregnant. That creates a mother wound, because it's taking away your autonomy, and it's based in the patriarchy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when
Mm-hmm.
you really strip a woman of her physical autonomy, it's nothing than to take her mental and her emotional autonomy from her.
Mm.
When she's emotional and she's crying, somebody says, "Stop crying. What you crying for?" She that has no autonomy over how she feels. When she has grand ideas and ambitions, and somebody says, "Oh, you a woman, you a little girl, go sit down somewhere, you being fast," you're stripping her of her mental autonomy. So she begins to feel powerless even as a child. So she stays a child emotionally. She stays a child mentally. She stays a child physically. And then you make her a mother. What do you expect to happen? It's going to be chaos.
Total chaos. Total
Total
chaos.
chaos.
I see someone in the chat saying my grandmother was the first person that they thought of. And I'm thinking about my grandmother and how she didn't have a voice. We were talking about self-care awareness month. I wrote a blog about that. And what I noticed was I never heard no in my household, in the sense that my mother never exercised no. My grandmother, I never heard them really have boundaries for themselves or anybody else, right? So they were always doing, always working, never took time for themselves, which meant they didn't have autonomy. They didn't have autonomy. And
Right.
I mirrored the behavior and modeled that behavior after what I saw, right?
But see, what happens is it's natural for people to have authority and autonomy. So when the woman becomes a mother, she's been so deprived of authority that she becomes the hard
controlling
on her
daughter.
Yeah. When you talk about that controlling, it's because she never knew how to manage authority. She never knew how to process it, when to give it, when to take it back. So when she has a daughter, she's hard.
I'm unleashing it out.
All of that. Because she's taught that's how you keep her safe. Because in the Black community, that's how Black women and Black girls were kept safe. Because you have to think, we're not that far out of segregation in Jim Crow. You're talking about the 60s and the 70s. These are times when a Black girl could be raped, she could be hung. We're talking about, I'm from the South, we're talking about Jim Crow South.
Yes.
So all of these, you had no choices, and you were seen as guilty for everything you did based off of your physicality and your physicality and your race. So that could then trickle down and cause problems for your home family. So you see the responsibility of the girl feeling like she's the weakest link takes away all of her power. And then that just gets passed down in this unconscious survival parenting that goes on. So I don't know who here. Yeah.
I totally identify with that comment about the grandmother, because I think about my grandmother. My grandmother was the oldest of all of her siblings. And when her mother her mother was a maid, and when her mother got pregnant with the last two children, my grandmother at 12 or however old she was, she had to quit school and go to work so that my great grandmother could stay home and take care of the two younger siblings, which made her a very bitter and angry child that grew up to be a bitter and angry adult.
Absolutely. Right? And rightfully so.
Yeah. And rightfully so. This conversation is so good. I just keep thinking about all the women that I know that walk around angry and are controlling. And myself, I remember when that was playing out in my own life, and I had to get reins of that. Like, I really had to bring myself in and say, okay, Lola, what are you dealing with? What is this really about? And going to therapy and becoming self-aware, because people are really not self-aware.
No, it's hard to be self-aware when you're in survival mode. When you think you're in danger, how can you be self-aware when you feel like you're in danger? Everything you're doing is to create some type of safety day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute. And if that's all that you've known, then how can you be self-aware? Well, because you have no sense of self, because you've never been validated or seen as a real person. So what is there to be aware of? Be aware of.
Drop down in the comments if this is resonating with you. If this is resonating with you, people are saying, woo child. That means it's resonating. It's definitely resonating.
I think a lot of people don't realize that this is not like a small niche. This is the majority. The majority of women have a mother wound, unless you had a mother who was very attuned, who had self-awareness, and who could emotionally attune to you, right? And it doesn't, my clients generally have toxic, painful, abusive relationships with their mother. They're at, further ends of the spectrum. But the wound can also be more subtle, right? You can talk to your mother every day. Y'all have Sunday dinner together and you love her to death and you honor her and everything. But the question is, do you feel free to be yourself when it comes to her? If you do not feel free to be who you are because you feel that it will be a disrespect or a dishonor to her, or that you have to live for her or allow her to live vicariously through you, even if you have accepted that as your job, that is a wound, because that's not really healthy. And that's not what love is. That's not what love is.
It's not. It's not. Oh my goodness. I call that the Sudoku puzzle, when you're having to move the 3 to the 9 and move things over to make things fit.
Right. Then you got to move it back again and move it up. Yes.
To fit so that everybody can be happy with how you're living your life. I talked about that this week when I reached out to my Heal Black Joy tribe and I said, hey, you guys, it's a check-in, midweek check-in. And I had to identify what my mother wound was. My mother wound was getting the approval, setting myself free from the approval of my mother, which was the subtle thing. It wasn't, my mother wasn't the controlling, narcissistic type mother, but it was out of respect.
Yeah.
I needed her approval. I needed her to approve of what I was doing in life. I needed her to approve of who I was dating or who I was seeing. I needed her to approve of if I took a job and there was a situation that came up. This is the key. And I would talk to her about it. And I would be so proud of how my response was. Because, in corporate America, everything that we do is we're angry or, no, we're passionate. That's just how we're wired. We are passionate people. And my mother, of course, would come back with, well, you could have, well, it could have been this. Instead of just hearing me and understanding, I would always get the wind knocked out of my sail because I didn't have that approval from her. I needed her to say, yeah, you did good. You did good. I taught you well, right? I had to free myself and cut the cord. I had to cut the cord.
You have to cut that. You have to cut the energetic umbilical cord, because what in the dynamic you had with her, you were the expression of her authority. So of course that validated her, because she herself was lacking her own personal autonomy. So the authority lived in you.
Yeah.
And it gave her an opportunity to know something, to make a decision, to make an impact, to mold and shape something. That was what you were, because she didn't have it to mold. She couldn't mold and shape herself.
And what my mirror was my daughter. Because my daughter was the one who put the mirror in front of me and said, this ain't working for me. Like, these kids, this age group of kids that are out now, they're like, no, that's not working for me. And I couldn't use those same,
tactics. Yeah, they're out. It's
antiquated.
Like you trying to ride a bicycle on the highway.
Right. And my daughter was just like, Mom, that's not good. That's not nice. No, I'm not going to sit back and just allow somebody to talk to me any kind of way. But I was taught, because my mother grew up in the Jim Crow South, based off of survival, you don't rock the boat.
You don't rock the boat.
And I wanted to rock the boat, but because I needed her approval, I wouldn't rock the boat. My daughter's like, I'm rocking the boat. I'm turning it over. I'm going to burn it, blow it up.
Thank you.
Kind of thing.
I'm going to turn it into a surfboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. And I mean, and I always, when I do a monthly healing class, and I always talk about this analogy, because so many women they're upset at their mother, right? They are so angry at how she doesn't see what she's doing or how she caused harm. She won't admit it and all this kind of stuff. And I say, imagine you have a 1965 Buick and you want to put it on the highway and go 80 miles an hour on these Atlanta streets. You're a 2015 Honda Accord or Camry with a V6 engine. This 1965 Buick don't even have power steering. Have you ever driven a car with no power steering, and it's a stick shift, and it's got roll down windows, and it's a 4-cylinder? Be happy you can go 55 in that car. And that is the species that they are. So if you're trying to parent or live now and be driving that car, you're not going to get far.
Right.
So that's two things to realize. One, the mother doesn't have the ability. She was not built to understand this authority and personal autonomy and self-awareness. It's okay. It's not our job to try and change her. That was her life. That was the time that she lived in. We have to realize that we, as much as we don't like how she behaved, that we are treating ourselves the exact same way. That because we can't help but to have turned into her, right? We are the fruit from that tree. But you can realize, oh, I can get out of this vehicle and I can get into a 2021 Ferrari. I can go real fast. I can get into an airplane. Like my life can be a different vehicle than the old life. You don't have to stay and keep tinkering under the hood of that 1965 Buick, trying to get it to move faster or trying to get it to do something that it's never going to be able to do it.
And I remember that moment. It's so funny that you're using the analogy of a highway. I remember that pivotal moment with my daughter. I was on a highway coming from North Carolina, coming back to Georgia. And I remember us pulling over at a rest stop. And I looked at her and I said, and it was the moment that I set myself free from all of it. And it was the moment when I said to my daughter, we're getting ready to change the trajectory of our lineage. There's no secrets between us. You can be free to be who you are. I'm not trying to take anything, add anything to you, or take anything away from you. Okay? You are your own person. You get to decide what you are going to be. I can't control it. I'm not going to control it. I'm going to allow you to be who you are and let God breathe on it. And keep it moving.
Because you know what that does? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It was such a pivotal moment for us that we don't keep it. My daughter and I's conversation is so evolving all the time because she can come to me and talk to me about anything. I didn't have that growing up. You know, and it comes from the mother wound.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
It comes from her mother wound, my mother's mother wound, and so on. So I do understand that once you break it and once you understand and identify that within yourself, and then you change your behavior and those patterns that you saw growing up and that you experienced growing up, you don't have to do those same things with your children.
Absolutely. Yes. And it also frees you up that you don't have to live under the branding of mother, which is a dehumanized and objectified way to live in so many ways, especially Black mother. You to be a good Black mother, you gotta fit into this box, right? It frees you up with your child to say, hey, I'm a full person too. I still get to evolve. I still get to change. I still get to discover who I am. I still get to have innocence and freedom in this world. This is not a I owe you or you owe me type of situation. We are full separately and we grow together. And that is what should happen in any relationship, whether it's mother and child, husband and wife, partner to partner, friend, whatever it is. Right. When you give somebody their full expanse to be who they are, it frees you up the same way.
I just had a download when you were talking about the branding of being under this guise or this umbrella of a good black mother. I think we need to talk about that because I think women are holding their breath to fit into that space of I want to be branded and put an S on my chest. I'm Superwoman and I want to be branded as a good black mother.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that so that women can free themselves from that?
Well, I'll say the good black mother and the good black woman, right? There is branding. Just how you
It
can
is.
brand anything else, the mother has been branded. And really the black woman and the mother are the same. Because if you think about it, the black woman was brought to this country, the African woman was brought to this country only to be mother. She was only here to reproduce. That was her only job. It was her only value. So even if you have not birthed your own children, the black woman is seen as the one who's supposed to supple all others. So the black mother and the black woman, there's really it's still the same objectification, whether you birth your own child or not.
Or not.
And what that objectification looks like, I'll use another analogy, because usually we talk about the objectification of women, the sexualization of women, and how a woman is only good for, black women are good for pleasure, right? But the black mother and the black woman outside of sexuality is still only meant for others' pleasure. It may not be sexual pleasure, right? But it's to make other people feel validated, to make other people feel needed, to make other people feel smart, to make other people feel important, right? That we have taken that is what our job is to continually be pouring and pouring and pouring and feeding people. That's what a mother does. And that is and to ask for nothing in return. It has been branded that the black woman, if you a good black woman, then you can do without. It's like, how small can I make myself so people will love me? How little can I ask for? How little can I need or want or desire for my life for people to see me as God? It really is a God complex, right? Because when we think about Jesus Christ, how he gave his everything. That's how we've been taught, because black people have been taught through colonial religion that love means to let yourself die.
Ooh.
Let yourself die for others. Black women have been identified as that, and that we have now picked up that is what love is. And it is dehumanizing because it strips us. If you always have to be right, if you always have to have the answer, if you always got to be Johnny on the spot, meeting everybody's needs, that's not a full human being. There's no space for you to be scared, confused, lost, tired, sad. There's a whole spectrum of what makes us a person. And when you want to fit into that space, you dehumanize yourself even more, because you say, oh, those other parts of humanity, I don't need those. I'm above that. I'm above spirit. I'm above needing help. I'm above being confused. I just do it. I'm a strong black woman. I'm independent. All these songs. There is no song written by a white man saying he's in love with an independent woman. Only black men gonna make a song talking about independent. That's it. There's no other race of woman who has been branded that her value is in how strong she is, how much she can endure, what she can put up with. It's only black women, only us.
You're speaking some stuff tonight. Oh my. I keep having these downloads of just of ideas when I think about it, because I think about my sister circle, my friendship circle, my colleague circle, and a lot of women, 30s and 40s, even late 20s, post college, have good jobs, working in their careers, doing what they do, but they are struggling in the relationship arena because they have this persona of the strong black woman. And when I talk to my brothers have stated, I had this conversation a couple of weeks ago on Heal Black Joy show with one of my brothers who's a relationship coach, and he talked about men not feeling present when they come home because we are the strong Black woman. So what do you say to those women that struggle in their femininity and they show up in their masculinity? Not to make it an excuse for them, but we know what that's about. We know what that's about. But
get
what?
therapy.
Yeah.
Take your insurance, get some therapy. Take your manicure, pedicure, lace weave money and trade it for some therapy. Take the bill that you're paying on your iPhone 12 and pay for some therapy. Make your healing a priority. Because everybody has a story. And I said this in my live earlier today. It is our mothers. It is the people who raised us. They are wrong for what they did, but it's our responsibility to fix it. It's our responsibility. And what is happening, what happens when you have childhood trauma is what you try to do is get it fixed in your romantic relationships, because that's your underdeveloped ego is still active. The 12-year-old in you who wants the love of a mother, because your first love for women is not your father. Your first love, the first person you ever loved was your mother. The first person to give you love is a mother, even if it's her food coming into the womb, even if it's the supple on the breast only one time before she handed you off to somebody else. That connection, that first thing right there, right? Right, Sisters Collective. It is trauma bonding, is the relationships we end up in. And we keep replaying the same chaos in our adult relationships thinking that's going to fix it, but it will never fix it. You're going to have to separate and do your work to heal it. But you have to really understand, I always like to point out, you have to understand how it's really affecting your life. Because people think it's normalized to feel chaotic, to feel angry, to feel confused. You think, I'm just going to be like this for the rest of my life. It's costing you your happiness. It's costing you your health. It's costing you money. It's costing you money not to heal. It's costing you somebody who loves you and adores you. Like, you can have everything that you want, but you got to heal. You're not going to be able to subvert, go the back way, trick it, do anything like that to get there. You're going to have to do the work. And it takes time. And you have to be honest that, you know what, I'm hurting. That's what that's where you start. Wherever you are, if you're in a relationship with somebody and y'all having that type of, that masculine, hitting up on masculine, be willing to sit there and say, I don't have it all worked out, baby. But what I want to say is I'm hurting. Everything I'm doing is because I'm hurting and I'm taking it out on you. And I've got to put me first to do the work to heal me if this is ever going to work. And that's where you start. You start with humility, right? You start there.
Speak to those people that struggle with humility, which is from a womb. It's from the mother womb.
If you fear humility, it's because you struggle with shame. Humility, humiliation, right? To be humiliated is really the fear of dying. It is the ego's fear that it will die. That's what when people say, well, I'm gonna get on stage, I thought I was gonna die. You know that you're physically not gonna die if you say words out of your mouth. But the fear feels like death because you become a new person once you speak, once you take the leap, once you challenge yourself, you become a new person, and the old you does die. And the ego is like, oh no, I don't, no, this is not safe, right? So that is what is happening. So that fear of humiliation keeps you from humility, being able to open yourself up and be vulnerable, because there's so much shame that you have there. And the only way you can get out of shame is to share. This is the only way. Shame locks you in silence. So anybody out there who knows they have something, they have a pain, they have a trauma, they have a secret that they believe, if I tell somebody what happened, if I tell somebody what I did, if I tell somebody how I feel, they're going to reject me. They're going to abandon me. I will be in danger emotionally. That is shame. When you feel I'm so broken, I'm so undeserving that I have to twist myself into a pretzel. That's shame. The only way out of that is to share whatever it is that you're holding. It's the only ways you have to share it, because you have to prove shame a liar, because it is.
Right. You got to tell the truth.
Yeah.
You have to share the truth.
Yeah.
That is so good. I know I want to touch on one thing, well, actually two things that show up as mother wounds. One of them is struggle in weight, and the other one was apologizing for things that you're not necessarily sorry for. Always apologizing. Always apologizing. So can you speak to both of those things for me?
Everything goes back to the same thing. Whatever it is you're going through with your wound, and you're talking about struggling with your body image, with your weight, apologizing, it all goes back to the relationship you have with yourself. You have a toxic and abusive relationship with yourself. So it's all of the ways that you are punishing yourself, all of the ways that you feel that you're not worth anything. And then because you believe that, you take action to make that true, to show it as being true. And again, this is having not the opposite of having a mother wound, is having a mother who is emotionally attuned to herself. She knew who she was. And that way she could show you what it means to be full of yourself, right? And she would give you permission to be full of yourself very early on. So you had a strong sense of who you were, and you had a strong sense of value around who you were, right? If you don't have that, then you're searching for something to fill you up, i.e., struggling with the weight, something to fill me up, something to make me feel something, to make me feel whole, to make me feel loved. Because struggling with weight and struggling in romantic relationships are the same thing.
Right.
It's all the same thing. So it all goes back to you not having a loving relationship with yourself, because it was never modeled for you. You didn't see a woman who had a loving relationship with herself, and therefore she couldn't have a loving relationship with you. She did not emotionally nurture you. She did not validate your feelings. She did not teach you how to manage your feelings. Oh, you're scared? Let me hug you and make you feel safe. You're confused? Let's sit down and go through some options. You make a mistake, instead of somebody slapping you across the face, you say, you're learning, you're going to learn, you're going to get better. Let me show you the right way to do it. Your humanity is never taken away from you as you are learning to exist in the world. So if you don't get that from your mother, and that is a mothering role, that is not what a father can give a child. That is what a mother gives, because it's an internal nurturing, right? So when you grow up and you're struggling with food, you're struggling with, I'll give you an example. I was having issues with my own weight. This was when my son was like 4 or 5. And I was just eating whatever I could get my hands on, because I was always rushing. I was always out of time. I was trying to get here and get there. So when my son, if he wouldn't eat all his food, I would finish eating his food, even though I knew I didn't eat what he ate. Like, I don't need to eat chicken nuggets and little stuff that 5-year-olds eat at macaroni.
Right.
So I was telling a friend of mine, I said, I'm trying to get this weight under control, get my eating under control. I said, but when Vincent doesn't finish his food, I eat it. So it's not wasted. So I don't have to throw the food away. Because again, I have a lack. I'm living in lack then. I'm believing there's not enough money. There's not enough food. Like there's not enough. So because I believe that, I'm eating leftover food I don't even like or want. And she says, so basically you're saying you're turning yourself into a trash can? Because the food is no good. The food is of no value. You don't deserve any better than that. And food plays a really important role when it comes to a relationship with yourself, because feeding is a way that you're shown love. You think about a baby wants to be held, they want to be fed, and they want to be clean. So being fed is a way to validate your existence, to show that you are real. So if you don't have a strong sense of self, you're gonna, I hate to be
comfort.
vulgar.
You're gonna comfort
You're gonna
yourself.
be putting something in one of your holes.
Ooh, ooh. Oh my goodness.
So you can feel something and feel validated to remind you that you're alive.
Whoa, Jennifer. Ladies, good night. Unplug from the socket. I'm done. Whoa, man. Goodness gracious. You just said it validates your existence.
Yeah, because it's never been validated and you need it. Our human need is to feel seen. As a human being, it is not food, clothing, and shelter. That's what we were taught. That's what it is. I gave you food, clothing, and shelter. That is not the basic need of a human being. Not human doing, human being. Feel
Right.
seen. Like, oh, I see you. Just as you are, without changing anything. I see you. I receive you. I recognize you. I accept you.
Not the Sudoku puzzle. Not that somebody has to come in and chip away at you so that they can make you digestible for their doing, which is all ego, right?
A blank sheet of paper. Oh,
just
I see you. Wow. I see you.
I see you.
Nothing special written on the paper. No calligraphy. No calculus. You didn't turn it into an origami. Just a blank sheet of paper laying flat. Oh, value. Just like that. Don't change it. That is what we're all longing for, right? And so if you didn't get it from your mother, then you're taught that it doesn't exist or you never should have it. That's why when it comes from your mother, what makes it so hard, because she is the first teacher. She teaches you what the world is. She teaches you who you are. If it doesn't exist in her world, it don't exist in your world.
Right.
Period, point blank.
Yeah.
That's why the wound is so crushing, because you don't have, it doesn't exist to you. Love doesn't exist to you. Abundance doesn't exist to you. Health doesn't exist to you. A supportive community doesn't even exist. It's like it doesn't exist. So why would you go out and try to change something to be different when to you it doesn't even exist?
Right.
It doesn't even exist.
I want to stop for a moment and I want to acknowledge some people because they're saying that this conversation is triggering for them.
Yeah, please.
And I know that it's triggering, but I want you to understand that Jennifer and I are people that we want healing for our people. We especially want healing for our sisters. And this is a safe space. So I don't want you to feel, even though you're triggered, I want you to understand that between the two of us and in this conversation that we're having, I want you to know that this is a safe space and that we're here with you and that we're supporting you in your journey of healing, because that's why we're having this conversation. We ultimately want to see us healed, right? That is what Heal Black Joy is about. That is what a Black mother wound is about with Jennifer and what she's doing. Speaking of that, because we have a few minutes left over, because Instagram will will take us out of here in an hour. You have dropped so many nuggets tonight. I really don't even know where to start other than everybody took notes. I know people took notes. I know human being versus human doing. Speak to that really quickly, because I think people think I'm a human, but they're in human doing mode instead of just being.
Right. Before I do that, I want everybody to take a second and take a couple deep breaths. I want us to kind of recenter as this class. We've got about 12 minutes left.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave you raw. I don't want to leave you
Yes.
open. So I want you to take a minute, put your hand on your heart, take a deep breath, blow it out like you're blowing out candles. Acknowledge the girl in you who's triggered. Acknowledge the pain in you. Acknowledge the question. And remind her that she's safe. This is how you build a relationship with yourself. You tell her, I'm sorry for everything that happened to you. I'm sorry for how you feel right now. We're going to get through this together. I'm not going to reject you. I'm not going to abandon you. I'm here for you. It's okay for you to relax. Let her know it's okay to relax. It's okay that she is safe with you. She's not just safe with us, because we're going to be out of here in 10 minutes, but she's safe with you. She's safe. Let her know she's safe with you. That is a part of the work. So I want y'all to kind of keep coming through. Yes, forgive yourself for not knowing, right? I want this is what it's about. This can trigger you to be more abusive on yourself and say, oh, I did this wrong. I did it. Oh, I fucked that up. No, this is where you come through with the emotional neosporin. And you say, oh, baby got a cut on her finger. Treat yourself like a baby. You get, oh, that baby got a cut. Let me, that nothing is wrong with that baby finger. But she wants somebody to kiss that finger.
Right.
I want everybody to kiss their finger. You said, boo-boo. That's what I want you to do. I want you to do that for yourself now for the rest of the night, as all of this stuff is going through your minds tomorrow, to kind of bring it back in.
Yes, self-soothing.
Understand how, yes, to continue that. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So you talked about inner being versus inner doing.
Or human
being
versus
intro level.
Yeah.
Human being versus human doing. We were taught our value is in doing. That's just the culture that we live in. That's the capitalistic, patriarchal, racist culture that we all live in. That your value is in what you do, what you produce. And really, if that was true, right? If you work, Beyonce work 18 hours a day. There's somebody at McDonald's or Walmart work 18 hours a day.
Right.
They don't make the same thing. So it can't be in what you do.
Ooh, come on now.
It's gotta be in who you are. That's where your value is, and who you are, what you bring to yourself. Because only then can it overflow into what you bring to the world. Right? And it's a very difficult concept, and it's very slippery, because we have real bills to pay. We got real jobs we got to go to. And we got real people asking us and needing things from us, right? So you really have to pay attention. That is why self-care, that's why having a spiritual practice and that you are dedicated and committed to is so important, because you have to be constantly, consistently committed to pouring into your being, because that's where your real power is, right? That's if you get anybody ever been pissed off, mad and upset, and shit just keep getting worse? Damn, they done hit a car. Damn, I forgot to pay my light bill. The lights is off. All because I was running behind Tyrone and them, and now all shit is all kind of jacked up. Yeah. Right? Yeah. That you being in a low frequency space is going to cause more low frequency things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But when you can be full of yourself, when you can feel good, better things happen. Oh, you find some money on the floor. Somebody call you with an opportunity. You want to take a nap, and guess what? You get to take a nap because your phone doesn't ring for 2 whole hours. Like, all of these things come from your being.
Your being.
They don't come from your doing.
They don't
But
come
you
from your
have
being.
to be, yes, but you have to have the emotional autonomy to be soft enough, to be tender enough, to elevate your being. Yes, it's absolutely the law of attraction. It's
Yeah.
absolutely, it works both ways,
Right.
right? But that emotional autonomy gives you, allows you, your natural state is soft and tender. Your natural state is not tough and I'm gonna get this done. I gotta run here and do. That's not your natural state. Your natural state is soft and tender.
If somebody was trying to identify their being, because we've taken on this role of doing, human doing. If they were trying to identify their being, I'm a human being, what is a question that they could ask themselves if they were sitting down to try to write out, hey, I want to start this journey of healing? What are maybe two questions that they can sit with themselves and say, Lola, I what is a question that you could ask yourself
Ooh,
about
okay.
being?
Intuitively, I'm gonna have some questions. There's gonna be more than two. Because the being, we're talking about where you are now. Right?
Yes.
Not the being you want to be. The being
Right.
that you
The
are
being you
now.
are right now, identifying who you are right now.
What's the nicest thing I've said to myself today?
Mm.
What's the meanest thing I've said to myself today? That'll tell you where you are right there. How much time did I spend with myself today? Where did I spend most of my time today? Write down hour by hour, do a 12-hour on a piece of paper, what you did all day. And then what you did all day, what you were thinking today. And that's going to show you where the quality of your being.
Yeah.
That will give you the quality of your being. And it will show you where you're wasting your time. It will show you where you're talking to the wrong people. It will show you that you are engaged in the wrong activities. It will show you where you are the biggest perpetrator against yourself.
The biggest perpetrator against yourself. Goodness gracious. Oh my goodness, we've got 5 minutes, Miss Jennifer. I do not know how to thank you for this conversation. This conversation was so needed. We're probably going to have to do a part 2 because I know these ladies in this particular conversation have been extremely blessed just from the dialogue that we've had here tonight. Tell us what you are working on. Give us your social media handles and everything.
Well, currently I am working on a few things. I got a few things that are already cooked and on the pot. All you need is a plate and you can come get yours.
Come get it.
I come and get it. I have a one-on-one coaching program. It's a 3-month container where I work one-on-one with another woman in these practices.
Okay.
And we discover where is the chaos, right? We gauge it out and then we find, oh, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to change. And all of this work is not for people who want to make a small change in their life or they want to make incremental changes.
Right.
I only work with people who want to make colossal, huge changes in their life. They want to flip it completely over. They have a dream, but it's like, I can't get there, but I have this dream. Right? So in the one-on-one coaching, we really do dig into that. I also have a membership group where I have live classes every month. I have a healing class. I have a monthly coaching call. So I've got 2 calls there. All of my healing classes, I've been doing healing classes since January every month. So I have replays in there. There's a course in there. So it's a group dynamic, right? Which is similar to this right here. But we're all interactive and we're doing the healing work on the spot.
Okay. Right? Give us your, I have your social media handles in all of my posts for this week that advertises, but I want you to give it to the people tonight so they can go and follow you. If you are not following Jennifer, you need to follow her so that you can get involved in her coaching, get involved in the things that she's doing. So let's tell them what your social media handle is.
Okay, I'm putting my my website right here, which is She Is Loved Project. So if you go there, you can see the links for everything. My social media is Black Mother Wound underscore. I will tell you, I'm going through some branding changes, and so in the next couple of weeks, that name is going to change
Okay.
because I'm evolving, and while I'm still doing this same work, I'm not going to be speaking to the problem. I'm
Come
going to be
on.
speaking to the transformation. I'm going to be speaking to who you really are and what your life is supposed to be, which is She Is Loved. So that name will be changing. So just keep track of both of those. But if you follow me now, it won't make a difference. So Black
Right.
Mother Wound underscore, and then you can find everything. You can see the website right there.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. You guys, she put her information in the chat, but go follow her now. If you haven't already followed her, please go follow her, and please like this Instagram TV and share it with your
Yes.
good girlfriends.
And I have a YouTube channel. I always forget about my YouTube channel, but I'm always posting there. Jennifer Arnise. Just type in Jennifer Arnise, Arnise on YouTube. You'll see that on the website too. So follow me and subscribe to my YouTube channel also.
Awesome. And those of you who are not following us at Heal Black Joy, we come to you every week with tangible conversations, conversations that are going to push our healing forward. It is all about Heal Black Joy for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation tonight. Please share it with your good girlfriends, and come back next week for another conversation. You guys have a wonderful night.
See y'all later. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, lady. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.